might need to update Streamlabs, because ever since it updated, I can't edit any of the windows or the sources. Yeah. So you're still big. Did I really take my paint cup away from the table? Where would I... Why would I go... Why would I pick it up and put it over there? Gosh darn it. All right, Dr. Drokel, heyo, and Lucky Bat, ooh. Yeah, you probably. Let me see. Wait, can you talk a little? Huh? You know, I see you jumping. Can someone in chat tell me if Nick is saying anything? Can somebody in chat say if they've heard anything Nick says? I just want to hear one of the guys say it. Also, there's no Nick. Okay. I have no idea. Let me try deleting you and re-adding you. I like that stuff just breaks in this one. Add. Audio input capture. Add a new source. Oh, is this call still going? Oh, fuck off, Skype. Hello? Ah, crap balls. There's no noise. You're not making any sounds to me. So let me see if I can figure out why. Skype open, Skype options. Where is Skype? That's not Skype. Where is Skype? Skype. 3 dots. Settings. Audio and video. That looks right, but this should be, yep, it should be VB cable. Why? Oh, why? Why is no audio coming out of that? Let me think. Why would it be no audio from Skype? System preferences. Oh, maybe that? Hello? Maybe that? Did that work? Did this work? Hello, hello? That should not have worked. Hello? Hello? All right. Why would it have stopped? Oh my goodness. All right. Where is Nick? Where's Nick? Hello, hello. Nick's been nicked. Nick was not the imposter. Obviously user error. Obviously. But, because all technology you use is user error, even when it really feels like it shouldn't, because everything should be saved exactly as it was from yesterday. A couple of things could have messed it up, though. Like, I did plug in a secondary screen. That should not have changed everything, though, because I do that all the time. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. All right, these are the things I can change, and they're not fixing it, so I guess we got no Nick for tonight. But he'll be back in time for the big ol' stream tomorrow. Ah. All right. Well, we're gonna do our best here. But it says Nick is also here. You know what? I don't know what's going on. Oh, wait, I can change that, but I can't edit that because of Streamlabs OBS is being a little finicky for a little while. But I'm gonna soldier on. And I guess Nick's gonna get a night off. All right, so I'm gonna start to paint the military stuff. Basically, his gas mask, his knee pads, his bulletproof vest, and I think parts of his rifle are gonna get painted sick green by Vallejo. Joey Flores. 1 like equals 1 prayer for Nick. That's the rudest paint bottle shake in the world. How do you guys shake paint? Because I think I do it expertly. I've never heard any complaints from the paint. I spent the whole day pretty much painting for an upcoming video about painting, if you can believe it. And also watching Vivzy Pop's new video, Helluva Boss, episode 2, which was unbelievably good. I mean, holy cow. I've probably watched it like a half dozen times, and it's incredible. Wanderbout. So apparently the new 40K app is good. That's neat. I had heard mixed things. I don't know what the app does. Is it just for like gaming, for like rules and FAQs? Brett S. Vortex Paint Shaker. Total luxury item, but so nice. Yeah, I prefer just giving my paints a little shake. And then buying a start collecting of something. Zerg619, hello Eons and Nick. No Nick tonight. Today I made huge progress on my papercraft. I'll upload to Reddit immediately. Ooh, neat. Okay, so Wanderbout says that the 40K app is about the codexes. So do you still have to buy the codex for it to be available in the app? I think the rules should be free. I wouldn't mind if other stuff like painting and pictures of models could be viewed in the codex, in the paper codex, but I think the rules should all be made available. Just like, kind of like the indexes from the move from 7th edition to 8th edition. Because that was fun. I had all the indexes, and so I could just be like, hey, I wonder what Harlequins look like. And then just, flip on over to those pages and read them. They announced a Warhammer 40k video game called Darktide at the Game Awards tonight. It's like Vermintide, but 40k. Ooh, neat. You have to buy the 9th edition codexes to show up on the app. Yeah. Meh. It seems like I haven't been playing for that long. I've been playing since I don't know, 2014, 2015. And what is that? 6th edition codexes, 7th edition codexes, 8th edition indexes, and 8th edition codexes, and now 9th edition codexes. That's a lot of $40 to $50 books in that span of time. It's a little poopy, to use some really harsh language. I think it's just poopy. So I'll pick them up if it's for a sure thing. I'm gonna play a lot of games this edition. Troy W. Brushes you would recommend there for ink, dry, and area color, or best suited. I'm using a lot of Rosemary & Co. brushes, and I tend to just kind of flip-flop every time I pick up a painting project. I use a different brush. So this is their Series 313. Don't remember what's special about it, but it has a very comfortable handle. It's kind of a fat handle, but it's skinny in the middle, and I think this is very comfortable. But usually I'll base coat with something kind of like this, like a fatter brush with a decent tip. And then for a lot of the details, especially on very, very small models like this, I'll use probably a half that size. So what is this? This is a Rosemary & Co. 0. It's probably a number 1 for Army Painter, but it's probably a number 2 for Games Workshop, because there's no standardization across the lines. And -1 change to Death Guard, I think. Ooh, -1 what? -1 attacks? -1... I think the Death Guard are neat. And I've tried to figure out what I want to get from Anvil Industries, because I'm going to try to get everything I want, because I don't want to pay multiple shippings. And one of the things I kind of do want is they have Astartes-sized zombie heads. And so I'm like, well, if I get that, I'm definitely going to do a Death Guard kill team. Because I think it'd be really cool to have the Death Guard, the Games Workshop, the one that comes with 7, and then throw on the custom resin zombie heads. I think that'd be a sweet look. Jay, you should give his sunglasses the one glowing red eye like Terminator when you paint them. That would be really cool. He's not quite wearing the Terminator glasses, though. He's kind of wearing, like, cool guy operator glasses. I kind of imagined they were going to be orange. Kind of a gradient orange to red. The one glowing red eye would be kind of cool, though. Any recommendations on bulk blank bases? I bought a ton off of eBay for like $12. I don't know the seller, but if you just look up like 32 millimeter bases, it should be one of the first results on eBay. But I bought that. I'm gonna have to buy another one pretty soon because we're putting out a lot of basing videos. And I'm going to have to get another one when I rebase all my Necrons. Because it's coming. They need it. They have the same kind of problem that Orcs do on their current 28mm bases, where as soon as you start to mess with them and push them around the table, they just kind of want to monkeys in a barrel and catch on each other and get thrown around the table. Not optimal. So they'll be much more comfortable on 32s. Troy W. noted, got a few cheap but compared to the Games Workshop expensive, which like its paint, damn good. These are too fine and long on top. I think the paint was on the shelf for a bit. Inside out, in legit. Aw, thanks, JPC. I'm glad you like our basing videos. I think, though, pretty soon we're going to pivot a little from the bases, and we'll be putting out a lot less basing videos and a lot more general tips. Because we really want to find a nice easy video that we can fill in those slots in our production schedule. But videos that'll get more views. Because I think with the advent of like 3D printing and so many different companies putting out resin bases, I think the demand for DIY or die bases is going down a little bit. Because they are not getting the hits that we'd like them to. I think I'm gonna do hazard striping on the handle of this machine gun. I think I'm gonna try to do a little hazard striping on all of my Anvil Industries models. Jay, what glue would you recommend for gluing layers of cork together? Well, I used super glue in the past, and I got a fair bit of delamination, but it could be I didn't use enough super glue. Probably if you want it stuck down and never, ever, ever to come up, probably contact cement would work really nicely, but it's gonna take a long time to dry. Not a long time to dry. It's gonna stick down pretty fast, but then you're probably gonna want to give it like a night to really harden. So if you wanted to do like a lot of cork, like multiple square inches to multiple square inches, I think I would go with the contact cement, sometimes called rubber cement. But if it's just small like bases, I think just spew as much super glue as you can get on there and then stick them together, and they should work out just fine. All right, good old Tactical Santa. Right, and this is going to give me a fantastic excuse to use my Army Painter Military Shader, which seems kind of like a black-green. But the Army Painter washes are excellent. I don't love their paint range because I find the paint a little glossy and a little thick, and you need to really, really, really shake it. But the washes are excellent. They're a little bit thinner, not thinner, they're a little bit less pigment heavy than Games Workshop's. And they have a glossy, they dry glossy. But I find that since they have a little bit less pigment in them, I find I can put it on and have much more control over it. And so instead of putting on kind of one thick passive wash, like I would with Games Workshop's Null Oil or Urgrax the Earthshade, I put on a few thin coats of Army Painter stuff, and it goes right where I want it. Dr. Jokel, in my experiences, super glue is bad over time on porous materials like cork. I was thinking of using wood glue. Wood glue would probably work pretty good. You'd probably want to clamp it while it's drying. But yeah, wood glue would probably not be a bad idea. The trouble with cork is it's so soft. And it depends what you're doing. Like if it's cork that's going to be covered up, you should probably do a really good job covering it up, because it's really hard. It's really easy for cork on a base just to look like cork on a base. So I'd suggest doing your best to cover it in as much material as you can. Brett S. Army Painter paints have a weird clear stuff on the top of the bottle that doesn't want to mix in. Not sure if it's excess medium or what. I usually shake it up well and then get rid of the excess. Yeah, and when you buy Army Painter paint, or like I bought an Army Painter set and it came with instructions on exactly how to remove that excess material, which is a little weird. They don't really explain what it is either. Presumably, it's to stop any chance of paint drying out. But I've never heard of that even being a problem. And there's so many companies use dropper bottles, so it is a little odd that Army Painter seems to be the only company that does something like that. And I'm sure plenty of people buy Army Painter paint, don't know to get rid of that little excess, and then just use the paint and it works fine. I have some Army Painter paint I bought secondhand, and I have no idea if it was properly prepared or not, and they seem to work fine. But after that, the Army Painter paints are pretty good. They are pretty good. They're just as good. Well, they're just as good as Games Workshop or Vallejo, It just comes down to preferences. I don't really like glossy paint. I feel like I have much more control over matte paint. And I like that the matte paint dries a little bit faster. But Army Painter is probably the best value paint because it's the cheapest. They have a lot of really good sets available. Probably it goes Army Painter, Vallejo, and then maybe everything else in terms of quality versus cost. Because Army Painter is cheap and it's good, and I think it's fine. And now I'm going to use a little bit of Games Workshop Black Templar Contrast on his boots and gun. Dr. Drokel, in the Army Painter, it's a layer of spit from the Quality Control Inspector. That's probably it. I think you've nailed it. It's a nice fat loogie. There. Got a little bit of paint where I didn't want it. Jay, are those lines in Santa's list engraved? Yes, yeah, they are etched into the model. Reaper has some good paints too. I've never tried out Reaper's paints. I like Reaper miniatures. Although it seems like they've kind of been beaten out lately by a different company. Because I used to go into game stores and always see a wall of Reaper. And now when I go, it's not Reaper, it's some other company that honestly has kind of better models. But I can't remember the name of it. True artistes use Raphael 8404, the color of the prose. Dave Dog, I'm not familiar. You know what I am familiar with, though? YouTuber VivzyPop's series Helluva Boss. Unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. The pilot was good. Episode 1 was good. And then episode 2 is unbelievable. It kind of harkens back to, like, Invader Zim. In that it's actually a good-looking show, and it's really funny. But holy moly, I think I've watched it like 5 times today. It is just good. It is just really, really good. It's about hell. Dr. Drokel, I would paint some of the lines in Santa's list red and some in black. The red ones would be the naughty names. Ooh, that is a fun idea. Does Creature Caster sell in shops? They're meant to... Excellent for minis. I don't know if it's Creature Caster. I don't think it is, though. It's the stuff... It's like Reaper Bones. I think they're PVC miniatures... And they come pre-primed, which is an interesting choice. Ooh, it sounds like Troy has had luck with Games Workshop Primer, but it did not get a good white from a hobby store, which is true. White paint is very difficult. If you get a white spray paint, it's probably gonna suck because the pigments are just too heavy. I've primed a lot of models white with a rattle can, and it just gets very granular. Dave Dog, I bought a new paint of new pot of GW White Scar. Opened the pot and it had something like a big slimy white dog turd ball in the pot. I had to stab it with a toothpick and add lots of Vallejo matte medium. Yeah, you probably should have just taken that sucker back. The Games Workshop White, I have one. I think I have two. I have the old color white and the new color white, and both of them aren't good. Dr. Trokel. Man, this particular stream is so chill and peaceful. I wonder what's different. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it could be. No idea. Now that I'm looking at it, I left a little bit of a seam line on the gun, but I think once it's all painted, it shouldn't be that noticeable. Man, though, this is a fun model to paint. It's all just nice. It's nice and simple, but it's not lacking in details. I could probably throw a little bit more contrast on there. On Tuesday, I spent the whole day painting for a video in kind of a classic GW style where everything got one color, and that sucked. But today, I took that same model and I added all the highlights, and it was a super fun painting process because it was all just highlights. You know, it's sitting right here. Since you all are nice enough to be on stream, I guess I could show you guys. Boom. Painted this up today. It is a look at those. Look at that ass work. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty happy with this. And you guys will see the footage in an upcoming video. Yeah, I bought this guy a long time ago when Necromunda first dropped. I got the big old box. Secret Necromunda team. Well, I've only painted the one model, and I have an Escher team as well, and I've only painted 2 models. So maybe in like a decade, it'll be a nice Necromunda team. Come on, computer. It's chugging. It is chugging. Ah, crap. Ooh, I'm looking at the new Papercraft. Assault Astartes Whip number 3. Wow. It looks like he's going to be kind of a decent size. Nice little figurine. Necromunda is not just a game. It's a roadmap for future generations and how they will live. For sure. Boy, though, what? I guess you'd want to be part of the, You'd want to be... Which of the gangs is the police? I feel like that's the gang to be a part of. Otherwise, it seems like you're going to have a pretty bad time. Man, though, Necromunda looks cool. Alright, time to lay down a little hazard striping. I remember I got Necromunda. I read the rules, but of course the first time you read the rules, when you don't have any context behind them because you've never played the game, they don't really make sense. And I've never played the game, and I don't think I've ever seen it played. I tried to watch some YouTube videos, but I don't know. I just can't. I've never met a battle report I've really loved. Because it doesn't feel like you're playing the game. It just feels like you're watching someone play the game. And that's not fun. Like, there's so much emphasis on the gangs in Necromunda, but not much on the factory workers in the Hive. That's true. Yeah, I suppose you would want to be a ganger. Like, why would you just want to be a hive drone? Like, sure, there's a lot of infighting, and the enforcers might come down and rough you up a little bit, but clearly it's better to be a ganger than just work for Amazon, which is basically what it is. But yeah, I really like House Escher, the Amazon women. Goliath is pretty fun, and I like the new lore of those two, where like the only reason that the Goliaths are so big and mean is because they're given medicines and concoctions from House Escher, and drug cocktails. So, but they also hate each other. So. It's this weird, just kind of fun that they can't really exist without the other one. I suppose Escher could get along without Goliath, but Goliath couldn't really get along without Escher. Troy W. Add a fuse to the teddy bear if it doesn't already have one. I don't think it's a fuse. I think it's a timed bomb. Because it looks like there's a little clock. There's a little clock attached to the bear. Jay, have you ever used Coat d'Arms paint? I hear they are like the old Citadel paints. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be exactly like the old Citadel paints. I don't really care. Because I've never heard that the old Citadel paints were like these amazing things, just that they existed. So I don't feel the need to hunt down that experience. But it's kind of neat that it exists. But I like Vallejo. I like Privateer Press P3, and that's good enough for me. Gets the job done. Yellow paint covers really, really well, said no one ever. The old Citadel paints are okay paint in even worse pots. Yeah. I've had mixed success because I think Coat d'Arms is exactly in these sorts of pots. And I think these are worse than Games Workshop pots. Because I've had a lot of tops just break off from this little hinge. They just crack and break. And you can't flip these inside out to clean out the gunk. So, I don't know. Dave Dog. So you reckon the old hex pots of Games Workshop paints are trash? I know that the first Citadel paint pots weren't great. Yeah, I've heard different things about the old screw-on caps. I've heard that they're indestructible and they've kept paint fresh for millennia. And I've also heard that they kind of sucked and paint would dry out still. I think Midwinter just did a video looking at using some old paint, and they were mostly fine. He only lost, I think, the metallic. But I don't know. I don't think you should expect your paint to last like a decade. If you need that color so little that you can only use a little bit of it up in 10 years, I think you probably could have just not bought it in the first place. Dr. Drokel, I used to paint a layer of white when painting yellow over a dark color like that if I wanted it to pop. Yeah, I'm going to apply a few layers of yellow, and then I'm going to go orange, and then I'm going to go back to yellow, and then work it up to a canary yellow. I kind of like, if this was bigger, I would definitely put down maybe a light gray or a white base. But, I mean, this has only taken a couple minutes to get this to a really nice mustardy color. And sometimes it's nice painting a little bit translucent so that if you make a mistake, it's very subtle. And then you can see the mistake and then correct. But if you're applying like a bright gray over a black, you better hope you've got some real good brush control. Because the only thing that's fixing that is going back in with the base layer. Which for me would be a little tricky because it's a Games Workshop contrast over a zenithal. So I'd have to just kind of recreate what was underneath out of different paints. Brett S., I still have some old Citadel paints, and it's still good, but I don't use it because it's too much of a pain in the butt. I'm sorry, ass. I don't know why, but I self-censored myself. Ass. Troy W., the flick open lids of the current GW paints, they like the screw-on cap. Yeah, the Games Workshop paint pots are worse than dropper bottles. Sometimes it's a little nice. I kind of like the dropper pots for washes, but that's about it. The pots don't bother me that much, though. I have never felt the need to transfer them into droppers. Because, I mean, like, you know, it doesn't take that long to paint a mini. if I spend 2 or 3 hours moving my GW paints into droppers, I could have painted, you know, the lion's share of a mini. And then what am I gonna do if I use up a color and then buy another one? I'm gonna go to Games Workshop, pay a premium for the paint to buy it again, and then put it into a dropper again? I don't want to do that. I'd rather just make it work, keep my eye on the paint so that it doesn't dry out, and it's fine. Everything's fine. Where is my orange paint? Dr. Droko, I transfer everything to dropper bottles, even 2-liter bottles of Pepsi. Ah, yes. Truly enlightened. That wasn't a good burp, you guys. I'll try harder next time. Ooh, Sammy Dib. Gotta ask, what kind of brush are you using right now, as well as which do you recommend? I am using a Rosemary & Co. Series. It says Rosemary & Co. Synthetic Series 313, and this is a 0. But this feels kind of like a big 0. It's got a little meat to it. I've enjoyed all of my Rosemary & Co. brushes. I think this one's my favorite handle. I like that it's kind of fat but skinny in the middle. But I've used a lot of their stuff. I have some. Let's see. Nope, that's not Rosemary & Co. I have. Oh, this is a number 4. This is a Rosemary & Co. Series 301 pointed round. And what else? I think I bought from a lot of their different series. Rosemary & Co. Zero Sable, and it's pretty much identical to the Series 313. But it's Sable. So yeah, I think I just bought a lot of paintbrushes from them, and I've been using them for years. And I don't think I've had to retire any of them. They've all kept the tip pretty well, with you know, a little bit of cleaning every now and then. But you know, I'm not the gentlest to my brushes, and they've stayed together great. Lucky bat. Love a nice crisp tip. Yeah, Sammy Dib. Check out Rosemary & Co. Some real quality stuff at pretty decent prices. Dr. Trokel. Jay, are you going to put hazard stripes on all models from now on? Just curious. I thought it was going to be leaves. I think I'm going to do hazard striping on all of my models from Anvil Industries, because I think it really, it's a nice look, and I think it's going to really look smart when I have all of them finished. I think I have probably 5 infantry, the minigunner that I just painted up last week, or was that this week? I don't remember anything. It must have been last week. And I have a couple of other pieces, and I have some drones, some tracked drones with guns, and so I think it'll look really nice if they all have hazard striping as something that kind of makes them all a cohesive unit. Even Santa. Yeah, the jolly old Saint Nick himself. Sammy Dib. Last question. I have been looking into getting a new paint set. Any recommendations? I recommend not buying a paint set. I'd suggest just buying the models you need. And I think that's a good way to try out new paint lines. Because if you buy a few different paint sets, you're going to be stuck with colors you don't use. And so it's good that you got a deal on the set, but if there's paints you don't use, then it wasn't really a deal. Like what I did was I was planning on painting up some Necromunda models, and so I wanted yellows. And so I just bought the yellows from Privateer Press P3. And I started using those, and I really liked them, so I've bought some more. But if you buy a whole army set, you're... I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of value in that, outside of, you're starting out and you need to get some paints. You need to fill up your bucket. So if you got a project coming up and you're like, hey, I'd love to try out some new greens. Maybe you go with Coat d'Arms for your greens. But for your blues, you try, I don't know, something else, GW, and then you try something else out for a different bunch of paints. You should paint a ho 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 on the front of the ammo box. That'd be pretty good. I think I might have to do that. There's not a lot of room though. It's real small. Brett S. That's good advice about the sets. Otherwise, you end up like me with around 200 paints from 4 different companies, and I end up using like 40 of them. Brett S. But they're gonna look sweet in the paint racks I'm building for them. Yeah, I also don't like the paint racks. I see their utility, but I'd rather whenever I got money to burn, I want to burn it on models. And I know like real artists, not that we're not real artists, even though but people who have like real paint, they keep them in like airtight bins. And that helps with their longevity. But if they're just sitting out on your desk at all times, I feel like they're gonna have an easier time drying out. They're not gonna get shook up as much, not gonna get used as much. But I don't know. Lucky Pat. The goal is to become friends with someone who owns a lot of different paints and lets you use them. Yeah. Yeah, that's really, it's like the boat. It's like a boat. You don't want to be the one who owns the boat. You want to be friends with the person who owns the boat. Yeah, all right, it's 9:56, so we're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. But I think we've got some decent progress. I mean, I painted some things green, and then I did hazard stripes. So I'm going to call that results. Did I get my Escorpina green? There it is. TK's 3D prints. I still have some Citadel paints from the 80s that are still usable. Well, good for you. I've only been doing this for like 6 or 7 years, but I only had a small number of paints go bad on me. Probably two Games Workshop paints. One of them was a white, and one was a metallic that was given to me. It was in the old style pots. DK's 3D prints. Just the metallics all went. Just the metallics. That's all died. I think the exact same thing happened to Midwinter when he looked at an old paint set. I think he could revive all the paints except for the metallic. Dr. Jokel, Jay, I pictured the ho-ho-ho going diagonally in horizontal layers from the top left corner to the bottom right. Or maybe a ho-ho on the ammo box, and then the third ho on his knee pad. That could be fun too. Ho-ho-ho. Is there room? Boy, it's not a lot of space there. But I think we'll have to try it, but not this stream. Maybe the next one. TK's 3D prints. They died within a year of opening the bottles. Brass was the worst. Brass was the worst. Or was it bronze? Was a nice color. I must admit, I do like the army paints. Ooh, I think, no, I don't do green for his stock, because then you've got green mask, green grenades, and then a green stock. That's just going to look dumb. There's not a lot of room to do more hazard striping, though. I think maybe just wood? Yeah, probably wood. All right, folks, it is 10:01, another fun night of painting up Santa Claus. But yeah, probably plenty more streams of this guy because he has a lot of fun details to pick out. And, of course, I have to paint Ho 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 somewhere. So, good night. Remember, we have a big, giant video coming out tomorrow, Friday. It's going to be huge. It's going to be epic. Everyone should watch it 3.5 times with ad blocker turned off. We'll be back tomorrow, me and Nick, at 9 o'clock to stream for an hour and then to stream more for our lovely patrons over at Patreon. So if you want more stream, you know what to do. Hop on over to Patreon and subscribe to us. But if you don't want to pay, for the extra stream, we also go long on Saturdays too. But you have to be there for Saturday. Our patrons get a double whammy of long streams. They get Friday night and Saturday night. But all right. Good night, everyone.